So this is a fully electric Porsche. Now, electric isn't new to Porsche. Believe it or not, the very first Porsche ever made was electric. It was called the P1, but that's a history lesson for another day. What's important is that now we have a modern electric Porsche vehicle. And if you like the idea of a Tesla, if you respect and just enjoy what they have to offer, but you want something with more sportiness, a bit more posh to it, there is currently no other option. So this is the 2020 Porsche Taycan 4S. This is technically the most affordable version as of right now of the Taycan below the turbo and the range-topping Turbo S. So we're gonna see what makes this car so special. But first, if you guys are new to CarGurus, we'd love to have you subscribe, hit the bell, that way you guys never miss an upload. Comment below, like this video if you enjoyed it at the end, but let's go ahead, check this car out. Okay, so we have to start with the obvious, and that's this paint color. This is called Frozen Blue. This is an $800 paint option. And I wanna know, would you guys pay 800 bucks to get this color on your electric Porsche? I personally think it's worth every penny, but I also wanna know, would you pay an extra $540 to get that same paint color on your key? It's a Porsche, might as well go all out, right? But I love how it accents the lines so well in this car. So you have these nice faint lines here. You're going to have your nice big haunches here, which is a Porsche signature. And then you have your signature 4-point LED light. So basically one LED at each corner of your headlights. Now, the front is very basic because it is electric. You don't need as much cooling as a traditional internal combustion engine, and it has to stay as slippery as possible to get more range and things like that. You have these functional air curtains over here, and you're going to have these active shutters here that are basically going to help cool the battery when needed. All right, so right here, you're gonna have these 20-inch aero wheels. Now, these are actually taken from the turbo model, but you can get them as an option here on the 4S. Now, this is your charge port. It is powered. I just put my finger there, and it's going to open right up. Now, as standard, it does not come powered. You have to get this as an option, but I definitely think it's worth it, especially if you want to retain that cool factor. You have one on each side. This is going to be your charging for things like at home, 120 volt, 240, and then on the passenger side is where you have your fast charger. Now here, this is the most disappointing part for me. There's actually a fake vent right behind here, no functionality whatsoever. My biggest knock definitely about this car, but other than that, the silhouette on this is gorgeous. I think this is the most beautiful four-door sedan that Porsche makes. Now, once you come to the rear, this is where it is instantly recognizable as a Porsche. You have your single LED light bar stretching the length of the vehicle. It's gonna say Porsche right in here, which looks really cool. And then you have your signature cursive writing. It's gonna say Taycan 4S. Now, if I hit this, this is going to open up my trunk, revealing my trunk space, which is very adequate for this size of a car. And then you also have your front trunk space as well. All right, so usually this is where we talk about the insane engine that's under the hood of this thing. However, no engine, once again, all electric, just trunk space. There's a lot of numbers when it comes to this battery pack and the options for it. So let's check it out. The Porsche Taycan 4S is powered by either a 79 kilowatt hour battery pack or a 93 kilowatt hour battery pack. The upgraded battery is about a $5,500 option, and the standard variant is gonna make 429 horsepower with as much as 522 horsepower available while in launch control. Now, the upgraded battery pack will make 482 horsepower with as much as 563 horsepower while in launch control. Well, enough about the numbers and the exterior and enough of this wind blowing my hair around. Let's go ahead and check out the interior. All right, so on the inside of this Taycan 4S, now this specific one has the Race Tex interior. Now that is the completely leather-free interior. So you have things like this polyester fiber here in the middle, microfiber, and then you have a leatherette here on the side of the seats, and then all on the dash, as well as microfiber here on the steering wheel. So very cool if you want to stay more environmentally friendly. Now the layout is very cool, but it's not perfect. So first things I do like, love the steering wheel, love the drive modes here. Very simplistic sports steering wheel. I absolutely love it. I love this driver display. It's very, very vivid. And you have these touch sensitive buttons here on the outside. You can control things like traction control, the damping, and then raise or lower the height of the vehicle. Now, once you come to the middle, there's, in my personal opinion, too many screens here. You have 1, 2, 3 screens, and you can option this 4th screen for your passenger, but it does have cool things where I can basically hit this cockpit button and see what speed I'm going. So if your passenger wants to play hall monitor, they can do that there. I really wish they would combine this into either one big screen, sort of like a 918. I also don't like how I can't actually move my vents. Granted, Tesla does the same thing. However, it's actually easier to control that in Tesla than it is in this Taycan. Other than that, this armrest kind of like falls in this weird way. I'm not sure if that's a defect or if that's normally how it comes. And then reaching in can be a little weird because it's kind of far back. You have storage space right back here, and you have this optional glass roof because this does have the premium package, and you also get memory seats for driver and passenger. All right, so in the back seat of the Taycan, it's a little bit cramped if I'm being honest. So I've got a good amount of room here with my knees. I've got a good amount of room where my feet are, but I sit pretty upright, and I'm about 6 feet tall with big hair, and my hair is definitely touching. So if you're around 6'2" to 6'4", you are definitely going to be touching your head. Otherwise, if you're of average height, you should fit pretty well. I love the way this looks from the back seat. Folding down the armrest, listen to this. The most solid armrest I've ever heard. And you have your 2 cup holders in here as well. A little bit of storage space here, here, and here, as well as 2 vents. Otherwise, it's a pretty simplistic back seat. Let's get this on the road and see how it drives. All right, so setting off in the Porsche Taycan 4S. Now, the first thing you notice is just how well this car handles. I mean, this is in normal mode right now. So when I come to a stop, you can hear that nice, crazy futuristic whir. I think it sounds really good. And then when you accelerate, nice sounds going on. It's pretty neat. Once again, normal mode. So you can switch that into Sport and then Sport Plus, which is the most aggressive. Now, as you go through the modes all the way from range mode to Sport Plus, you will see your range decrease. This is officially rated at 203 miles of range by the EPA. However, I have blown past that with ease. I've been driving this pretty much in Sport Plus all the time, and I saw about 230 miles. I'm not even joking. I feel like to get 203, that's like anyone can get 203 no matter what situation. I feel like you can be in the frozen, icy tundra in Sport Plus and you could probably still get 203 miles. So just know that no matter what, you can pretty much get 203 miles out of this car all day long. That is very nice to see. If you drove this in range mode, I'd say you can get close to almost 240, 250. All right, so once you're in Sport Plus, here's where things get a little bit different. You have the sport sound that comes on, so when you punch it, oh my gosh, it sounds really, really cool. Very Tron-like, and even though this is the 4S, it still hits very, very hard. Now you do have this 2-speed transmission. It doesn't really have a specific area that it shifts at. When you're in launch control, it will shift at around 50. One thing I have to accentuate more on is that sport sound. Now it comes with this sport package and it is very cool. I think it's worth every single penny. It's so unique, and this video doesn't do it justice. There's so many low frequencies that this has that video just can't capture, and it's just this really engaging experience. Now the layout whenever you're driving is pretty interesting. Now I hate that you don't have an actual volume knob. I just have to tap this little area down here to up and decrease my volume, but I've gotten used to just using the steering wheel control because it's a lot faster. Now you do have regen in here. You can't one pedal drive just like in Tesla because you only have 2 modes, which you can access by hitting this button here on the steering wheel. So it does regen, but not quite in the same way as Tesla. However, 90% of your brake pedal is going to be regen. So only 10% of your braking right at the very end is going to utilize your actual brakes. And then of course you do have launch control in this car, which is very easy. Throw it in Sport Plus, floor the brake, floor the accelerator, it'll throw you into launch control, and then it does give you a slight overboost, which will actually boost your horsepower by 100 here in the 4S, which is just crazy. There's no other vehicle I can think of that's electric that you can just give yourself a 100 horsepower bump like that. It's pretty insane. All right, so last thing to talk about, let's talk about pricing and who this car is really aimed for. So this starts at $103,000, which isn't too bad. This one has almost $40,000 in options. This is $142,000 as tested. Now, the main competitor for this that most people will cross shop this with is a Tesla Model S. However, that's a very different car. Tesla has their market locked down. So even though this could sway a few Tesla buyers, the Tesla is really a completely different vehicle. If you like the idea of a Tesla, once again, you want something sportier, a bit more posh, this is the only option, and it's a Porsche. It's really in its own league of doing things. There's nothing quite like this specific vehicle that I'm driving, and that's a hard thing to say nowadays. We drive a lot of cars, and it's not very often that I drive something that feels completely different than anything else, and that is the case with this vehicle. So I think this is priced very accordingly. This is a sporty premium, very prestigious and luxurious vehicle, and it is priced to be exactly that. All right, so last thing to touch on is charging. If you get the upgraded battery pack, you can visit a 350 kilowatt charging station, and this will take you from 5% to 80% in just 22 minutes, which is very good. But final thoughts on this car, I think the Taycan is an excellent EV. The downsides are obviously it's extremely expensive. The interior is not as practical as you would think, and it's a little on the small side in terms of just interior space, storage capacity, compared to something like a Tesla Model S. However, the upsides are you get the prestige of a Porsche, you get one of the most dynamic EVs I personally have ever driven, and you get a vehicle that, I kid you not, gets more looks and points than almost anything else I've ever been in, though that may be due to the color. But I want to know what you guys think. Comment below, would you get this Taycan over any of the competition? And I think if you have the money, this should be something you take a hard look at. But guys, we'd love to have you subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell, that way you never miss an upload for CarGurus. Be sure to check out cargurus.com for more information, and we'll see you guys in the next video.